Hello, friends. We're going to talk about beginning, middles, and ends of stories today in your Flipgrid. So I'm going to do this story, but I want you to tell me the beginning, middle, and end of one of your favorite stories at home. And this is one of my favorite stories at home. My mom used to read it to me when I was a little girl. It's one of my favorites. And I'm not going to read all the words. I just ripped it. I'm not being very careful. You can tell it's a very old book. I'm not gonna read all the words because it's very long, but I'm gonna tell you the story because I know it really well. And then I'm gonna tell you the beginning, middle, and end of my story, and I want you to tell me the beginning, middle, and end of your story in your Flipgrid video. So this is our friend Rebecca Estelle, and she loves to plant and she loves to garden, except that she hated pumpkins. She never planted pumpkins because when she was a little girl, they did not have a lot of money and all they could eat was pumpkins. That's all they ate for a whole month. Pumpkin. Baked pumpkins, steamed pumpkins, boiled pumpkins, stewed pumpkins, mashed pumpkins, rotted pumpkins, breakfast pumpkins, lunch pumpkins, dinner pumpkins. So she was sick of pumpkins. She didn't even like to look at them. I would feel that way too if I ate that many pumpkins. And then one autumn day, she was an older lady, her hair is turning white, and she's noticing that it's the fall because a leaf is falling. She's raking her yard. Uh-oh, but what's happening in the background? She turned around to pick up a leaf because she didn't want to even see those pumpkins. But then, splat! The pumpkins smashed everywhere, all over her yard. And look what's in the inside of pumpkins. Seeds. Oh no, what do you think is going to happen? The driver sped away. She's so upset. She said, I'm not even going to touch it. So she just got her shovel and she just shoveled it up, shoveled dirt on top of all those pumpkin pieces. But what's going to happen if she put dirt on top of all those pumpkin seeds that were inside the pumpkins? She said she's not even going to think about those pumpkins, she said, until next spring. She's out doing her gardening. She loves to garden. And she noticed she had some new sprouts. She said, I didn't plant anything there. How curious. And then she remembered the pumpkin truck and she said, pumpkins! I will not water those plants. She said, I will not take care of them. I will just ignore them and then they will just die and I won't have to have pumpkins in my yard. But a week later, she noticed they were still there. So she went out to her barn and she got all her tools and she went to work on those pumpkin vines and she cut and dug until she couldn't see any of them. There, she said, now there will be no pumpkins. She dug them all up. She tried to get rid of them. She's ignoring them. They won't grow, she said. Ignored. And she ignored them so well that she even forgot that she wasn't using her front door. She forgot all about why she was only using the back door until one autumn day. You could tell it's fall now because of the leaves. She went to rake her leaves and she saw, oh no, pumpkins! Rebecca Estelle shrieked. Everywhere, pumpkins, pumpkins, pumpkins. Her entire yard, they were all over the place. What will I ever do? She cried. How will I get rid of so many pumpkins? And then she thought of when she was a little girl, and that was the only food that she had to eat. Well, I can't let them stay here, she told Esmeralda. That's her cat, says Esmeralda. Some people might need these pumpkins, and I suppose there are folks crazy enough to like them. So we'll just give them away. She's too tired to deliver the heavy pumpkins, she said, but maybe she'll make them into pies and they'll be easier to deliver than big heavy pumpkins. So Rebecca Estelle went to work and she scooped those slimy seeds out and she cut the shells and she made pies. She added all the ingredients, the cinnamon and the nutmeg, to make pies. She made pumpkin bread, she made pumpkin pudding, pumpkin cookies until pumpkin dishes spilled out of every cupboard and shelf in her house. They're everywhere. All these delicious baked goods of pumpkin things, all the seeds you could see piled in the corner. Oh my goodness. So then she had an idea. She thought, how are people even going to know I have so much pumpkin food here to give them? And then she had an idea. She took her knife and sat in the middle of that pumpkin patch and she carved a smiling face on all those round pumpkins and some that said boo. And when she could no longer see, she went and she got the candles out. And she said, if this doesn't get people to come, then we'll have to deliver the pumpkins ourselves. But look, she made a beautiful yard full of jack o' lanterns. And she sat in the darkness. She didn't see anything, but she kept watching. She noticed something in the distance. What do you think that is in the distance? People maybe noticed all those pumpkins. Sorry. Young and old, everyone in town came. Rebecca Estelle, we thought you hated pumpkins, they said, but we saw your jack o' lanterns and came for a closer look. I hoped you would, she said. Where did you ever find all these pumpkins? I came by them by quite an accident, she told them. Would you like some pumpkin pie? There's plenty. So she shared all the cookies and the pies she made and the roasted pumpkin seeds. And then all that remained was a handful of seeds, and she tucked them in her pocket so they would be safe so she could plant them next spring. So she learned to not hate pumpkins so bad after all. So, my friends, in my story that I just read, in the beginning of the story, we learned about Rebecca Estelle and how she hated pumpkins because she had ate them too much when she was a little girl. So that was the beginning of my story. The middle of my story, a pumpkin truck spilled and pumpkins grew all over her yard. That was the problem she had in the middle of the story was she doesn't like pumpkins and now she has so many pumpkins. And the end of my story was she had the idea to share those pumpkins even though she doesn't like them and to bake for all the people in the town, and they came to visit her, and she wasn't so lonely anymore. So that's what happened in the end. She shared her pumpkins even though she didn't like them. So, beginning, we learned about Rebecca Estelle and how she did not like pumpkins. In the middle of the story, she had so many pumpkins growing in her yard from the truck that spilled, and in the end, she shared her pumpkins with everybody else. So that's what happened in my story. Now tell me about what happened in the beginning and middle and end of your favorite story. I can't wait to hear about it.